Welcome back once again in my channel. Today this video is going to be my 10th video on the chapter relation and functions. Now today in this video we are going to start the exercise 1.3. Now let us see which questions are to be done from this exercise. Now let us see one by one. First we shall practice question number 3 ka Roman 1, Roman 2. After that we shall do question number 5 ka Roman 1, Roman 3, and lastly we shall practice the very important maths question number 9, because it comes in the CBC board exam very frequently. Understood? But before that, first we need to know the very important topics which are left, that is composite of a function and inverse of a function, because the exercise 1.3 is totally based upon these two topics. Now let us discuss them one by one in brief. Correct. First let us come to composite functions. Let us know what is the meaning of that. Suppose we are taking two functions, say they are fx and gx. Correct? Suppose we are taking two functions, let they are fx and gx. Then their composite is symbolized by either f naught g or g naught f. Again I am saying from the first. Suppose we are taking two functions, let they are fx and gx. Then their composite function is symbolized by either f naught g or g naught f. So there are two symbols of composite functions, either f naught g or g naught f. This symbol is called naught, K-N-O-T, naught. In fact, the composite function are the function of x also here, because here we are dealing with x functions. Also their composite will be function of x. If you deal with function of y, it will be y here, f naught gy, g naught fy. If you deal with function of z, then the resultant will be f naught gz or g naught fz. So accordingly you have to say. Understood or not? Now let us solve question number 3 ka Roman 1 and Roman 2 from the exercise 1.3, because these two maths are based upon composite. Then I hope it will be understood properly. Now let us solve one by one. Now let us come to question number 3 ka Roman 1. Here already the two functions are given. These are f is equal to mod x and g is equal to mod of 5x minus 2. From here you have to find their composites. We have to find the first composite f naught g and g naught of f. F naught g means simply it is f naught gx, and g naught f means g naught f x, because we are dealing with the function of x. If these are the function of y, so you have to write f naught g of y, yeah, g naught f of y. If these are the function of t, so you have to find out f naught g of t and g naught f of t. So you have to find out accordingly, according to the variables mentioned. Now let us find them one by one. First let us find the first composite, f naught g of x. Simply f naught g of x means you have to understand f of g of x. Again I am saying f naught g of x means you have to understand f of the second one, g of x. Now look at the gx functions, what it was. The gx was mod of 5x minus 2. So here we can replace in the place of gx mod of 5x minus 2. Correct? That means it becomes f of mod 5x minus 2. Ultimately, we have to find the value of f of mod 5x minus 2. But how to find it? Now, look at the f function. It was f is equal to mod x. The value of f of mod 5x minus 2 can be found from here only. How? Since f is equal to mod x, so the value of f of mod 5x minus 2 will be simply replacing these 2x on the both sides by mod 5x minus 2. So it will become f of mod 5x minus 2 will be mod of mod 5x minus 2. Correct? Again I am saying how to find the value of f of mod 5x minus 2? Simply replacing x on the both sides by modulus 5x minus 2. Then it will become f of mod of 5x minus 2 will be mod of mod 5x minus 2. So there are two mods. So ultimately we are getting is mod of mod 5x minus 2. Though here we are getting two mods, but it will be actually one mod ultimately. So the value of f naught g of x will be ultimately mod of 5x minus 2. In this way we have to find out the composite. Understood or not? Now let us come to the second composite to find out. Now similarly we have to find out the second composite g naught f x. So simply g naught f x means you have to understand g of fx. Again I am saying like the previous here, g naught fx means simply you have to understand g of fx. Now look at the fx value. What it was? F is equal to mod x. So simply we replace fx by mod x because the value of fx was mod x. So ultimately we have to find the value of g of mod x. Correct? How to find it? For this purpose, look at here. Since g of x is equal to mod of 5x minus 2, so obviously the value of g of mod x will be, how to find it? Simply replacing x on the both sides by mod x to find the value of g of mod x ultimately. Simply replacing x by mod x on the both sides. Ultimately we got g of mod x, that is mod of 5 mod x minus 2. So ultimately here you got the value of g of mod x, that is modulus 5 mod x minus 2. Correct? So in this way we are getting the value of the second composite g naught fx, that is mod of 5 mod x minus 2. Now look at the previous composite. What it was? Mod of 5x minus 2. And look at the second composite, and it is mod of 5 mod x minus 2. Now compare. These two are not same. So you can say f naught g not equal to g naught f. So we can say from here, so we can take a decision from here. The composition of functions of two functions, in fact two functions, is not commutative. Correct? Because we have seen f naught g and g naught f are not equal. That's why you can say the composition of the two functions is not commutative in general. Okay, there may be some rare cases, but in general they are not commutative. We can check by taking any examples. Though here for this example we have already checked f naught g not equal to g naught f, because the f naught g was mod of 5x minus 2, and here the g naught f is mod of 5 mod x minus 2. So simply they are not equal. That's why we claimed the composition of two mappings, two functions, is not commutative for this example. Okay. Now let's come to the question number 3 ka Roman 2. Now let us come to question number 3 ka Roman 2. Similarly here the two functions are already given. What are they? F is equal to 8x cube and g is equal to x power 1 by 3. In the similar manner, from here you have to find out the first composite f naught g and the second composite g naught f. Correct? Now let us find them one by one. Now let us find the first composite f naught g of x. Nothing is there means x is there, because we are dealing with function of x. Correct? That's why we have to put here x. Now simply we learned f naught g of x means we can say simply f of g of x. Okay, f naught g of x means simply f of g of x. Now look at gx. What it was? Gx was x power 1 by 3. So simply you can replace gx by x power 1 by 3. Correct? Now it becomes f of x power 1 by 3. So ultimately now we have to find the value of f of x power 1 by 3. Now how to find it? Now for this purpose, look at fx function. Here the fx is 8x cube. F is equal to 8x cube. Since f is equal to 8x cube, so the value of f of x power 1 by 3 will be just simply replacing x on the both sides by x power 1 by 3 to find out f of x power 1 by 3. Okay, so let us replacing x on the both sides by x power 1 by 3. Correct? देखो x के पावर में 1 by 3 था, that's why you have put x power 1 by 3 whole cube. So don't be confused here. Okay, here this power will be cancelled. Ultimately it will become 8x. Right? Because after cancelling it will be 1. X power 1 means 8 into x. Correct? So in this way we are getting the value of f of x power 1 by 3, that is 8x. So you see the value of this one is 8x. In this way we are finding the first composite, that is f naught g of x, which is 8x. Correct? Now let us come to the second composite g naught f of x. Simply we know g naught f of x means g of fx. Correct? G naught f of x means simply you have to write g of fx. Correct? Now look at the fx function. What it was? Fx was 8x cube. So simply we can replace fx by 8x cube. Correct? Now it becomes g of 8x cube. So by any means we have to find the value of g of 8x cube. How to find it? Now look at here. The gx was x power 1 by 3. If gx is x power 1 by 3, so the value of g of 8x cube will be simply replacing x on the both sides by 8x cube. Simply replacing x on the both sides by 8x cube to find out g of 8x cube. Now let us replace on the both sides. It becomes 8x cube whole power 1 by 3 as it is. Simply though on the right hand side also you are replacing x by 8x cube. Now this 8x cube can be written as 2x whole cube. Correct? And 1 by 3 power as it is. Now this power will be cancelled. Ultimately it becomes 2x. So ultimately we see the value of g of 8x cube is 2x. So ultimately the value of this one will be 2x. In this way we are getting the second composite, that is g naught f of x, that is 2x. Understood or not? Now look at the previous step. The value of f naught g of x was 8x. The first composite was 8x and the second composite is 2x. Obviously they are not equal. Also we can claim here f naught g and g naught f naught g not equal to g naught f, also for these examples. That's why we claimed in the previous example that in general the composition of the two functions is not commutative. Understood? So in general it can be proved the composition of the two functions is not commutative. So that's all about composite functions. Now let us come to the next topic, that is inverse of a function. Okay. Now let us come to the next topic to be discussed, that is inverse for a function. Now let us see how to find the inverse for a given function. Now let us see it. Suppose f(x) is a given function, correct? Then this f will be invertible if and only if it is bijective, correct? Now I am trying to say a function f will be invertible if and only if it is bijective. If and only means it is the true from the two ways. That means I am trying to say if A is invertible, if f is invertible, then it will be bijective, or conversely we can say if f is bijective, then it will be invertible. Understood? So it is clear from here, to be invertible for a function it has to be bijective. That is the only conditions to be invertible for a function. That means I am trying to say f is invertible, double implying means if and only if f is bijective, correct? Again I am saying what is the meaning of that. What is the meaning of double implying? If a function f is invertible, then it will be bijective, or conversely we can say if f is bijective, then f will be invertible. So to be invertible for a function, f must have to be bijective. Bijective means it has to be injective as well as surjective, correct? So I am trying to say directly, to be invertible for a function, the function f has to be injective as well as surjective. If any one of them fails, then f will not be invertible, correct? So let us see some examples, problems on the basis of that. Then it will be understood properly. Now let us come to question number 5 ka Roman 1. This question is about invertible for a function. First let us see what is told here, what is given here. Here a function f is given with the domain 1, 2, 3, 4 and codomain 10. At the same time the function is defined in this way. Here the function contains some ordered pairs, and these are 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 10 and 4, 10. From here we have to check whether it is invertible or not. That means first we have to check whether it is bijective or not. Okay. First let us draw the Venn diagram of the given function. The domain is here 1, 2, 3, 4, and the codomain contains only one element, that is 10. Suppose the domain is A and the codomain is B, correct? Now look at the given function, how it is defined. It contains 1, 10, means 1 maps to 10. It contains 2, 10, means 2 maps to 10. 3, 10 means 3 maps to 10. 4, 10 means 4, 10. Correct? So here we see every element of the domain set maps to only one element, 10 in the codomain set. Here every element of A maps to 10 in the codomain set. So you can say here if is many to one means सब लोग मिलके एक जगह कन्वर्स कर रहे हैं in B, many to one. So it is clearly seen. So we can say if is not 1 to 1, correct? So it is clearly seen here. F is not 1 to 1. 1 to 1 means एक के लिए एक, but here it is many to 1. So it is not 1 to 1. 1 to 1 means injective. So we can say from here F is not injective, correct? Since F is not injective, so we can say F is not bijective, and not bijective means it will not be invertible. Okay, so F is not bijective. Not bijective means not invertible, correct? Not invertible means it will have no inverse, correct? So ultimately you can say this function will have no inverse because it is actually many to one, not injective 1 to 1. Not injective means not bijective. Not bijective means not invertible. Not invertible means it will have no inverse. Here the inverse will not exist. Understood? Now look at the question number 5 ka Roman 3. Here similarly a function is already given, that is h, with the domain 2, 3, 4, 5 and the codomain 7, 9, 11, 13. And at the same time the function h is defined in such a way. Here the function h contains some order pairs, and these are 2, 7, 3, 9, 4, 11 and 5, 13. So from here in the similar manner we have to check whether it is injective or not. Now let us check like the previous math. First let us draw the Venn diagram of H. Here we see the domain is 2, 3, 4, 5, correct? And the codomain is 7, 9, 11, 13, correct? Let the domain set is A and the codomain is B. Now look at the function and tell me how it is defined. Since H contains the order pair 2, 7, so we can say the elements 2 in A maps to 7 in B, correct? Similarly H contains 3, 9, so we can say 3 maps to 3 in A maps to 9 in B. Similarly for 4, 11 we can say 4 in A maps to 11 in B. And finally for 5, 13 we can say 5 in A maps to 13 in B, correct? Now tell me what we can observe from the Venn diagram. Now we see, firstly we see every preimage of A is having distinct image in P, correct? देखो 2 के लिए 7, 3 के लिए 9, 4 के लिए 11, 5 के लिए 13. So we can say from here, every preimage of A is having distinct image in B. So we can say here H is 1 to 1. Correct? 1 to 1 means H is injective. Correct? है ना? Because we see here every preimage of A is having distinct image in B. That's why you can say H is 1 to 1. Because though 2 maps to 7, 3 maps to 9, 4 maps to 11, 5 maps to 13. सबके लिए अलग अलग है ना? That's why you can say it is 1 to 1. एक के लिए एक. Similarly, we can say every element of B is having distinct premises in domain set A. That's why it will be also surjective. So secondly, we see that every element of B is having exactly one preimage in domain set A. So also we can claim H is surjective. Correct? So in the previous step we have proved H was injective and here it is surjective. So we can say altogether H is bijective. Bijective means H will be invertible. Correct? Invertible means it will have inverse. So you can say H will have inverse. Understood or not? Firstly, we have checked H is injective because from the Venn diagram it is clearly seen every preimage of A is having distinct image in B. So H is 1 to 1 means injective. And secondly, we have seen that every element of B is having exactly one preimage in the domain set A. That's why H is surjective. So H is injective as well as surjective. Means bijective. Bijective means it will be invertible from the condition. Invertible means it will have inverse. Understood or not?